Jack Harrison was tired. He had been flying his ship through empty space for 6 hours, checking the same boring routes he always checked. The UES Valiant was a good ship, but patrol duty around the edge of the solar system was not exciting work. Most days he saw nothing but stars and empty darkness. Today was different. His computer started beeping loudly. Something was out there, floating in space where nothing should be. Jack pushed his ship forward to get a closer look. What he found made his hands shake. Pieces of a destroyed spaceship drifted slowly through space. But this was not any human ship Jack had ever seen. The metal was strange, almost like liquid silver. Strange symbols were carved into the hull pieces. The technology looked far more advanced than anything humans had built. Jack called his base right away. "This is Lieutenant Commander Harrison. I found something big out here, really big. You need to send a team." Within 2 hours, a recovery ship arrived. Lisa Morgan was the head scientist on the team. She was smart and had studied alien life for years, even though no one had ever found any real proof that aliens existed, until now. Lisa floated through the wreckage in her spacesuit. She collected pieces of the strange metal and found several small devices that still had power. Most important of all, she found what looked like a computer storage unit. It was damaged, but still working. Back at Luna Base, Lisa worked for 3 days straight trying to understand the alien technology. The computer storage unit was the key. When she finally broke through its security, what she found made her blood run cold. The storage unit contained thousands of hours of video recordings. All of them were of Earth. The aliens had been watching humanity for years. They had recorded human cities from space. They had mapped every military base, every factory, every important building. They knew exactly how many people lived on Earth and where they lived, but the videos were not just recordings. Each one had notes attached. The notes were in the alien language, but Lisa's computers could translate some of them. The translations were terrifying. The aliens were planning to invade Earth. They had studied human weapons and decided humans were too weak to fight back. Lisa ran to find Admiral Richard Stone. Stone was the head of Earth's Space Navy. He was a tough old man who had fought in the asteroid mining wars. When Lisa showed him the videos, his face went white. "How long do we have?" Stone asked. Lisa checked the alien computer again. "Based on these files, they should be coming soon. Maybe days, maybe weeks. I can't be sure." Stone called an emergency meeting. All of Earth's top military leaders came to Luna Base. Captain Helen Foster was there. She was the best ship captain in the human fleet. Colonel Steve Baker came from Mars. Dr. Amanda Clark flew in from her research station. When Stone showed them the alien recordings, the room went silent. For a long time, no one spoke. Finally, Helen Foster stood up. "We need to prepare for war," she said. "Right now." Stone nodded. "How many ships can we put together?" "Every ship we have," Foster replied. "Military, civilian, everything. We'll need them all." Dr. Clark raised her hand. "Wait. There's something else in these alien files. They're not just invasion plans. There are maps, star charts. I think I know where they're coming from." She pointed to data on the alien computer. "They have a base, somewhere in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. If we can find it and destroy it, we might have a chance." Admiral Stone looked around the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, as of right now, the human race is at war. We didn't start this fight, but we're going to finish it." The next few days were the busiest in human history. Every spaceship that could fly was called into service. Cargo ships were fitted with weapons. Passenger ships became troop carriers. Even small personal spacecraft were turned into fighters. Jack Harrison found himself in charge of a squadron of converted mining ships. The miners who usually operated them volunteered to fight. They knew how to work in the dangerous asteroid belt better than any military pilot. Meanwhile, Lisa Morgan continued studying the alien technology. She made copies of everything and sent them to research centers on Earth, Mars, and the Moon. Human scientists worked around the clock to understand how the alien weapons worked. Helen Foster took command of the largest battle group. Her flagship was the UES Defender, the most powerful warship humans had ever built. But even she knew it would not be enough against advanced alien technology. Humans would have to be smarter, faster, and braver than their enemies. On the fifth day after Jack's discovery, the deep space sensors picked up new signals. Ships were coming from the direction of Alpha Centauri. Lots of ships. The alien invasion fleet had arrived, but this time, the aliens would not find helpless victims waiting for them. They would find humanity ready to fight. Every man and woman in the solar system knew what was at stake. This was not just a war for territory or resources. This was a war for survival. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of his command ship and looked out at the human fleet. Hundreds of vessels floated in formation around him. They were not the most advanced ships in the galaxy. They were not the most powerful weapons ever built. But they were crewed by humans who refused to give up. The alien ships were getting closer. Soon the first battle would begin. Stone picked up his communication device and spoke to every ship in the fleet. "This is Admiral Stone. Today we fight for our world. We fight for our families. We fight for our future. The aliens think we are weak. They think we will surrender without a fight. They are wrong. We are humans, and we never give up. All ships, prepare for battle." Across the fleet, thousands of voices answered as one. "Ready for battle, sir." The war for Earth was about to begin, but the aliens had made one terrible mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare, and now they would learn what humans could do when they fought for their survival. Commander Zethkar was confident. His species, the Kethalari, had conquered 47 worlds. Earth would be number 48. His scouts had watched the humans for 3 years. They were a young species with primitive technology. This would be an easy victory. But when Zethkar's ships entered the solar system, something was wrong. His long-range sensors showed human ships moving toward him. Lots of human ships. This was not supposed to happen. Primitive species did not detect Kethalari scouts until it was too late. "How did they know we were coming?" Zethkar asked his navigation officer. "Unknown, Commander. Our stealth systems are working perfectly. They should not be able to see us." Zethkar looked at his tactical display. The human fleet was large, but their ships looked weak. He had seen the intelligence reports. Human weapons were based on simple, chemical explosives and basic energy systems. His ships had shields that could stop anything the humans might use. "Prepare for battle," Zethkar ordered. "We will destroy their fleet quickly, then proceed to their home world." Colonel Steve Baker was nervous but excited. He had trained his whole life to be a fighter pilot, but he had never expected to fight aliens. His squadron of 20 fighters was moving toward the alien ships near Jupiter's largest moon. "Stay close to the moon's surface," Baker told his pilots, over the radio. "Use the gravity and the terrain to your advantage. These aliens probably fight in open space. Let's give them something they don't expect." The alien ships were beautiful and terrible. They were smooth and silver, with no visible weapons or engines. They moved through space like swimming fish, graceful and fast. Baker counted 12 of them. His 20 fighters would have to be enough. The first alien ship fired at Baker's squadron. A beam of bright blue energy shot past his fighter and hit the moon's surface. The rock melted instantly. Baker's mouth went dry. One hit from that weapon would destroy his ship. "All fighters, attack pattern Delta," Baker ordered. "Stay low, move fast, and don't fly in straight lines." The battle lasted 10 minutes. When it was over, 8 alien ships were destroyed. Baker had lost 6 fighters. It was humanity's first victory against the Galactic Empire, but it came at a high cost. Baker's hands were shaking when he landed his damaged fighter on the nearest human ship. Ambassador Claire Roberts had been Earth's top diplomat for 15 years. She had negotiated peace treaties and trade agreements with dozens of human colonies, but she had never had to speak for the entire human race before. The alien message came through the captured communication systems. It was in perfect English. The aliens had learned human languages from years of watching Earth's radio and television broadcasts. "People of Earth," the message began. "I am High Admiral Vector of the Galactic Empire. Your military forces have attacked our peaceful exploration vessels. This act of aggression will not be tolerated. Roberts laughed, despite the situation. Peaceful exploration vessels that carried weapons capable of melting rock. The message continued. The Galactic Empire offers you one chance for surrender. Submit to Imperial rule and your species will be allowed to continue existing as a worker class. Refuse and your world will be destroyed completely. You have 24 hours to decide. Roberts looked around the room at Admiral Stone and the other human leaders. Stone nodded at her. The decision had already been made. Roberts activated the communication system and broadcast her reply on all alien frequencies. Hi, Admiral Vector. This is Ambassador Claire Roberts speaking for all of humanity. We have heard your demands and we reject them completely. Earth is not for sale, rent, or conquest. If you want our world, you will have to take it from us. And I promise you that will cost you more than you are willing to pay. She paused, then added, We suggest you leave our solar system immediately. Consider this your only warning. On the bridge of his flagship, High Admiral Vector was shocked. In 200 years of Imperial expansion, no primitive species had ever refused surrender. They always gave up once they saw Imperial technology. These humans were either very brave or very stupid. Shall we proceed with the attack, Admiral? Asked his tactical officer. Vector looked at the tactical display. The human fleet was larger than expected, and they had managed to destroy several Imperial scout ships. Still, they were just humans. How dangerous could they be? Begin the assault, Vector ordered. Destroy their fleet and prepare for orbital bombardment of their homeworld. Lieutenant Colonel Frank Hughes was studying the wreckage of the alien ships that Baker's squadron had destroyed. Hughes was an engineer who specialized in alien technology. What he found in the wreckage changed everything. The alien ships were incredibly advanced, but they were also predictable. Their computers controlled everything automatically. The aliens just gave orders and let their machines do the fighting. There was no creativity, no improvisation. The aliens had become slaves to their own technology. They fight like computers, Hughes explained to Admiral Stone. Everything is programmed. They have responses for standard military tactics, but nothing for unusual or creative approaches. If we can fight in ways they don't expect, we can win. Captain Nina Wells was the kind of person who liked unusual approaches. She had been an asteroid miner before joining the military. Her idea was crazy, but it might work. We take mining ships and disguise them as asteroids, Wells explained. The aliens have a base hidden in the asteroid belt. We float right up to them looking like space rocks, then attack when we're close enough to do real damage. Admiral Stone approved the plan. Wells took 50 volunteers and 50 mining ships. They covered their ships with rock and metal to look like asteroids. Then they drifted slowly toward the alien base. It took 3 days to reach the base. Wells and her team had to stay perfectly still the entire time. Any movement might give them away. When they finally got close enough to see the alien base clearly, Wells was amazed. It was huge, built into a large asteroid. Hundreds of alien ships were docked there. This is Nina Wells to all ships, she whispered into her radio. Execute attack plan in 3, 2, 1, now. 50 fake asteroids suddenly came alive. They shed their rock coverings and opened fire with everything they had. The aliens were completely surprised. Their base had no shields because they thought they were hidden. The human attack destroyed the base's main power systems and half of their ships. The explosion could be seen from Mars. When the news reached Earth, people celebrated in the streets. Humanity had struck back at the aliens and won a major victory. But High Admiral Vector was not finished. The loss of the asteroid base made him angry. He decided to attack Earth directly with his entire fleet. If the humans wanted a war, he would give them a war they would never forget. General Marcus Boyd had never seen anything like it. In just 2 weeks, the entire human civilization had become a war machine. Every factory on Earth, Mars, and the Moon was now making weapons or spaceships. Every person who could work was building something to fight the aliens. Boyd stood in the main factory on Luna Base and watched thousands of people working. They were taking apart cargo ships and rebuilding them as warships. Old luxury yachts were getting armor and weapons. even small. Personal flying cars were being turned into fighters. If it could fly in space, humans were making it into a weapon. "How many ships do we have now?" Boyd asked his assistant. 2,347, sir, and more are finished every hour." Boyd shook his head in amazement. When the war started, Earth had maybe 200 military spaceships. Now they had 10 times that many. The aliens had expected to fight a small fleet. Instead, they would face an entire civilization that refused to give up. Katie Moore was working 18 hours a day in her engineering lab. She was trying to solve humanity's biggest problem. Their weapons were not strong enough to hurt alien ships. Human missiles bounced off alien shields. Human laser guns barely scratched alien armor. But Katie had an idea. The wreckage from destroyed alien ships contained their weapons and shield systems. What if humans could combine alien technology with human engineering? The aliens made better individual parts, but humans were better at making different systems work together. Katie's first hybrid weapon was a success. She took an alien energy cannon and connected it to a human targeting computer. The result was a weapon that was more accurate than anything either species had built alone. The alien gun was powerful, but the human computer could hit targets the aliens would miss. "The aliens are too specialized," Katie explained to General Boyd. "Their weapons only work with their systems. Our weapons work with anything. We can mix and match. They can't." Within days, every human ship was being fitted with hybrid technology, alien weapons with human controls, alien shields with human power systems, alien engines with human navigation. The combination was deadly. Commander Paul Lewis was about to face the biggest test of the new hybrid technology. The aliens were attacking Mars with 3 full battle groups. Lewis had 40 converted civilian ships to defend the planet. On paper, he should lose badly. The alien fleet was impressive. 60 sleek silver warships approached Mars in perfect formation. Their weapons were charged and ready. Their shields were at full power. High Admiral Vector was confident this battle would end human resistance once and for all. "Surrender now and your deaths will be quick," Vector broadcast to the human fleet. Lewis replied, "Come and take our planet if you can." The battle began at maximum range. The aliens fired their blue energy beams at the human ships. But something was wrong. The human ships were moving in ways the aliens had never seen before. They spun and rolled and changed direction constantly. The alien weapons, designed to fight ships that moved in straight lines, kept missing. Meanwhile, the human ships were firing back with alien weapons. But their targeting was much better than anything the aliens expected. Human pilots were creative and unpredictable. They used every trick they knew from years of flying in dangerous asteroid fields and around gas giant storms. When conventional weapons were not enough, Lewis ordered his most desperate tactic. "All ships, prepare for ramming speed. We're going to hit them with everything we've got." The human ships accelerated directly toward the alien fleet. Most alien commanders had never seen anything like it. What kind of species used their own ships as weapons? 5 human ships crashed into alien vessels, destroying both ships in massive explosions. The aliens started to retreat. They had lost. 20 ships and the humans were still fighting. Vector could not understand it. These humans should have surrendered after losing a few ships. Instead, they fought harder when things got worse. Dr. Sam Wright was working on humanity's secret weapon. Wright was a computer expert who had studied the alien communication systems. He discovered that all alien ships were connected to each other through a central network. They shared information instantly across their entire fleet. This connection made the aliens very efficient, but it also made them vulnerable. Wright designed a computer virus specifically for alien systems. It was like a disease that would spread through their network and cause their computers to malfunction. The virus was small and hidden. The aliens would not notice it until it was too late. Wright called it chaos, because that's what it would create in the alien fleet. "How do we get it into their system?" asked Admiral Stone. Wright smiled. "We let them capture one of our ships. The virus is hidden in the ship's computer. When they connect our computer to their network to study it, chaos will spread to every alien ship in the fleet." Captain Julie Adams volunteered for the dangerous mission. She would fly her ship close to the alien fleet and let them capture her. Then she would escape while the virus did its work. It was risky, but it might win the war. Adams flew her ship toward the alien fleet around Earth. She made it look like her engines were damaged and she couldn't escape. The aliens took the bait. They captured her ship and brought it aboard their flagship for study. As soon as the aliens connected her computer to their system, chaos began to spread. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, alien ships began to malfunction. Their weapons fired at random targets. Their shields turned on and off. Their engines stopped working. Adams escaped in the confusion and returned to the human fleet. Behind her, the alien fleet was in complete disorder. Ships were crashing into each other. Weapons were firing in all directions. The virus had turned the aliens' greatest strength into their biggest weakness. Admiral Stone saw his chance. All ships attack now while they're confused. The human fleet attacked the disabled alien ships. Without their shields and weapons working properly, the alien vessels were helpless. In 1 hour, humanity destroyed half of the alien invasion fleet. High Admiral Vector was forced to retreat to the outer edge of the solar system. His perfect fleet was in ruins. His advanced technology had been turned against him. For the first time in his career, he had been defeated by a primitive species, but Vector was not ready to give up. He still had reinforcements coming from the Galactic Empire. Hundreds of ships were on their way to Earth. The humans had won some battles, but the war was far from over. On Earth, humanity celebrated their victories, but Admiral Stone knew the celebration would not last long. The aliens would return with more ships and better preparation. The next phase of the war would be even more dangerous. However, humanity had learned something important. They could fight the aliens and win. Their ships were now equipped with hybrid technology. Their tactics were unpredictable, and most importantly, their spirit was unbroken. The aliens had started this war expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened, a sleeping giant that grew stronger with every battle. Admiral Ben Clark had been fighting the aliens for 6 months now. In that time, he had learned something that changed how he thought about war. The aliens were stronger and had better technology, but humans had something the aliens had lost long ago: the ability to adapt and never give up. Clark stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at reports from across the solar system. Every battle taught humans something new about fighting aliens. Every defeat made them stronger. Every victory gave them more confidence. The aliens, meanwhile, kept using the same tactics that had worked on other worlds. They could not understand why those tactics were failing against humans. "Sir, we're getting reports from the Jupiter station," said his communication officer. "The aliens tried to attack our mining platforms. Our defense fleet drove them off." Clark smiled. The Jupiter mining platforms were defended by converted cargo ships and volunteer miners. 6 months ago, those same miners had never seen combat. Now they were beating trained alien soldiers in space battles. That was the difference between humans and aliens. Humans learned and grew stronger. Aliens stayed the same. Commander Rachel Smith was leading humanity's first major offensive operation. For months, human forces had been defending their territory. Now it was time to attack. Smith had spent weeks studying alien battle formations and had found their weakness. The alien fleet always formed up in the same patterns. They put their strongest ships in the center and their support vessels on the outside. It was a formation that had worked for hundreds of years against other species. But Smith had a plan to turn that strength into weakness. "All ships execute Plan Trojan," Smith commanded. 50 human ships approached the alien fleet, but 30 of those ships were actually captured alien vessels with human crews. The aliens could not tell the difference until it was too late. When the human ships were inside the alien formation, they revealed their true identity and opened fire from within. The alien formation fell apart in minutes. Ships that were supposed to protect each other were firing at each other by mistake. The humans had used the aliens' own ships against them. It was a tactic the aliens had never seen before and could not counter. Smith's victory at the Battle of the Outer Rim changed the entire war. For the first time, human forces were advancing. Instead of just defending, the aliens were being pushed back across the solar system. Captain Tony Miller took Smith's tactics one step further. His idea was even more dangerous but also more effective. Miller's fleet would capture alien ships in battle, quickly repair them, and then use them to attack other aliens immediately. The aliens would think the captured ships were still on their side until the moment they opened fire. Miller's ghost fleet of captured alien ships caused chaos throughout the alien forces. Alien commanders stopped trusting their own vessels. They began firing at ships that might be human-controlled, including ships that were actually still alien. The human strategy was making the aliens fight themselves. The beautiful thing is, Miller explained to his officers, we don't even have to capture that many ships. The aliens are so paranoid now that they're destroying their own fleet for us. Chief Engineer Lauren Davis made the discovery that turned the war completely in humanity's favor. Davis had been studying the alien communication network for months. She found out how to not only listen to alien messages, but also send fake messages that looked real. We can make them think whatever we want, Davis explained to Admiral Stone. We can send orders to their ships. We can make them think reinforcements are coming when they're not. We can tell them to retreat when their commanders want them to attack. Davis's communication warfare was invisible but devastating. Alien fleets would receive orders to move to new positions, leaving important areas undefended. Supply ships would be told to deliver resources to empty space instead of to the alien fleet. Important intelligence would be changed before it reached alien commanders. The aliens began to suspect that their communication network was compromised, but they could not figure out how. They started using older, slower methods of communication, but that made their fleet slower and less coordinated. Either way, the humans had gained a huge advantage. Colonel Greg Thompson led the mission that proved humanity was ready to go on the offensive. Thompson's target was the alien colony in the Alpha Centauri system. This would be humanity's first attack outside the solar system. It would also be the first time humans had tried to liberate territory from the Galactic Empire. Thompson's fleet consisted of 200 ships, all equipped with the latest hybrid technology. Half of them were captured alien vessels with human crews. The fleet also carried 30,000 human soldiers, ready to fight on the ground if necessary. The aliens were not expecting an attack on Alpha Centauri. They thought the humans were still busy defending Earth. Thompson's fleet arrived before the aliens could organize their defenses. The surprise attack caught the alien garrison completely off guard. The battle for Alpha Centauri lasted 3 days. The alien defenses were strong, but they were designed to fight other aliens, not humans. Human tactics were too unpredictable. Human soldiers fought in ways the aliens had never encountered, and most importantly, the humans had something to fight for. They were liberating human colonies that had been captured earlier in the war. When the battle was over, Alpha Centauri was free. The alien garrison had been destroyed or captured. The human colonists who had been enslaved by the aliens were freed. Most importantly, humanity had proven they could defeat the Galactic Empire on its own territory. News of the Alpha Centauri victory spread throughout human space. On Earth, Mars, and the Moon, people celebrated in the streets. For the first time, since the war began, it looked like humanity might actually win. But the victory also sent a message to the Galactic Empire. The humans were no longer just defending themselves. They were attacking Imperial territory and winning. The Empire would have to take this war much more seriously. High Admiral Vector was recalled to the Imperial capital to explain his failures. In his place, the Empire sent Admiral Kolthek, their best military commander. Kolthek had crushed a dozen rebellions. He had never lost a war. The Empire was confident he could defeat the humans, but Kolthek arrived to find the situation much worse than he had been told. The human fleet was now larger than the Imperial fleet in the area. Human tactics were completely unpredictable, and worst of all, human morale was higher than ever while Imperial morale was dropping. "How did you lose to these primitive creatures?" Kolthek demanded of Vector. Vector looked tired and defeated. "They are not primitive anymore. Every time we fight them, they become stronger. Every time they lose ships, they build more. Every time we use a tactic against them, they find a counter. They never give up and they never stop learning. Kolthek studied the reports of human victories. What he saw troubled him. The humans were not just fighting bravely. They were fighting smart. They were using Imperial technology better than the Imperials themselves. They were coordinating attacks across multiple star systems. They were doing things that the Empire had thought were impossible for such a young species. "Prepare the fleet," Kolthek ordered. "We will crush these humans once and for all." But as he gave the order, Kolthek wondered if it was already too late. The humans had grown from a single planet defending itself to a military power that could threaten the Empire itself. The question was no longer whether the humans could defend Earth. The question was whether the Empire could defend itself from humanity. Fleet Admiral Susan Parker stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UES Vengeance, and looked out at the largest human fleet ever assembled. 5,000 ships stretched out in formation around her. 2 years ago, when the war began, humanity had owned maybe 200 military vessels. Now they commanded a fleet that made the Galactic Empire nervous. Parker had earned her position through 2 years of constant battle. She had started the war as a captain. Every victory had brought her higher rank and more responsibility. Now she commanded all human forces in what would be the final battle of the war, the assault on the Imperial homeworld. "Admiral, all fleets report ready," announced her tactical officer. Parker nodded. "Signal all ships. Execute Operation Thunderstrike." Exirav, human fleet moved forward through space toward the heart of the Galactic Empire. They were no longer the desperate defenders who had fought to save Earth. They were conquerors, and the galaxy would never be the same. Emperor Zalthon sat on his throne in the Imperial Palace and tried to understand how everything had gone so wrong. 2 years ago, his generals had assured him that conquering Earth would be simple. The humans were a primitive species with weak technology and no real military power. Now human fleets were attacking Imperial colonies throughout the galaxy. Dozens of worlds had fallen to human forces. The Imperial Navy, which had been the most powerful military force in the galaxy for 1,000 years, was retreating on every front. "Your Imperial Majesty," said General Mordak, "our scouts report that the human fleet is approaching the capital system. They have over 5,000 ships." Zalthon could not believe it. 5,000? How is that possible? The humans had no fleet when this war began. "They have been capturing our ships and turning them against us. They have also been building new vessels using our own technology. Our intelligence estimates they are now producing more ships per month than we are." The Emperor looked out the window of his palace at the orbital defense platforms that protected the Imperial homeworld. There were hundreds of them, armed with the most powerful weapons in the Imperial arsenal. But he no longer felt confident they would be enough. Titori. Battle for the Imperial capital began at the edge of the star system. Admiral Kolthek commanded the Imperial Defense Fleet from his flagship. He had 600 ships, all veteran crews with the best equipment the Empire could provide. He was confident he could stop the human advance. "All ships, engage the human fleet at maximum range," Kolthek ordered. "Do not let them get close to the capital world." The Imperial fleet opened fire with everything they had. Beams of energy and flights of missiles filled space between the two fleets. But the human ships did not behave like any enemy Kolthek had fought before. They split into dozens of smaller groups, each one moving independently. They attacked from unexpected angles and retreated before the Imperial ships could respond. Admiral Parker was using tactics she had learned from 2 years of fighting the Empire. The aliens always fought in large formations with centralized command. But humans had learned to fight in small independent groups that could think and act on their own. It was like fighting a swarm of angry bees instead of a single large target. "All squadron leaders execute independent attack patterns," Parker commanded. "Find their weak points and hit them hard." The human squadrons spread out across the battle area. Some attacked the Imperial flanks, others went after support ships. A few groups pretended to retreat, then turned around and attacked when the Imperial ships followed them. The Imperial formation began to break apart under the pressure. Within 6 hours, Kolthek's fleet was destroyed. The few surviving Imperial Ships retreated toward the capital world, hoping the orbital defense platforms could stop what they could not. Kolthek himself was captured when his flagship was boarded by human marines led by Captain Derek Young. "Your war is over," Young told the defeated alien admiral. "Surrender now and your crew will be treated well." Kolthek looked at the human soldier with a mixture of fear and respect. "How did you defeat us so completely? We had superior numbers and technology when this war began." Young smiled. "You made one mistake. You thought conquering Earth would be easy. Instead, you taught us how to fight a galactic war. We learned from every battle. You kept using the same old tactics. That's why we won." The orbital defense platforms around the Imperial capital put up a brave fight, but they were designed to fight enemy fleets, not the swarm tactics that humans had perfected. Human ships attacked the platforms from all directions at once. When conventional weapons were not enough, human pilots rammed their ships into the platforms, sacrificing themselves to create gaps in the defenses. Within 3 days, the orbital defenses were broken. Human ships began landing on the Imperial capital world itself. The Emperor's ground forces tried to resist, but they had never faced human soldiers before. Humans fought with a determination and creativity that the Imperial troops could not. Captain Derek Young led the assault team that reached the Imperial Palace. His Marines had fought their way through the capital city, past automated defenses and alien soldiers who had never expected to fight on their own homeworld. "Surrender, Your Imperial Majesty," Young called out as his team entered the throne room. "The war is over. Your fleet is destroyed. Your defenses are broken. End this before more people die." Emperor Zalthon looked around his throne room at the human soldiers who had crossed the galaxy to reach him. They were not the primitive savages his advisors had described. They were disciplined, professional warriors who had earned their victory through skill and sacrifice. "I surrender," the Emperor said quietly. "What are your terms?" Young activated his communicator. "Admiral Parker, this is Captain Young. The Emperor has surrendered. The Imperial capital is ours." The news of victory spread throughout human space within hours. On Earth, Mars, the Moon, and every human colony, people celebrated in the streets. Humanity had not only survived the alien invasion, they had conquered the aliens in return. Ambassador Mary Johnson arrived at the Imperial capital to negotiate the peace treaty. She had been Earth's chief diplomat when the war began. Now she would decide the terms that would reshape the galaxy. "The Empire will pay full compensation for the damage caused by your unprovoked attack on Earth," Johnson told the defeated alien leaders. "You will also surrender all territory within 50 light-years of human space, and you will accept permanent human monitoring of your military forces." The alien negotiators had no choice but to agree. The Galactic Empire's days of expansion and conquest were over. Humanity was now the dominant military power in their region of space. Colonel Andy Williams oversaw the integration of captured Imperial technology into human civilization. But humans did not simply copy alien designs. They improved them, creating new innovations that surpassed anything the Empire had achieved. "The ironic thing is," Williams explained to a group of scientists, "the aliens gave us all this advanced technology when they attacked us. Now we're using it better than they ever did." Human shipyards began producing vessels that combined the best of both species' engineering. Human factories started making computers that were faster than alien systems. Human universities began training a new generation of scientists who understood both human creativity and alien science. 5 years after the first alien ship had been detected entering the solar system, President Karen Brown addressed the United Earth Assembly from the new human capital on Mars. The war had changed everything. Humanity was no longer just the inhabitants of one small planet. They were a galactic power with colonies throughout their region of space. "We did not ask for this war," Brown said to the assembled representatives. "We were peaceful people who wanted only to live in safety on our own worlds. But when the Galactic Empire decided to conquer us, they made a terrible mistake. They turned a peaceful species into the most powerful military force the galaxy has ever seen." She paused and looked out at the delegates from dozens of human worlds. We have proven that humanity will never bow to tyranny. We have shown the galaxy that attacking Earth is the worst mistake any alien species can make. And we have demonstrated that human fury, once awakened, is indeed relentless. The assembly erupted in applause. Outside the building, human ships patrolled the skies of Mars. In space, human fleets guarded the approaches to every human world. And throughout the galaxy, alien species had learned a valuable lesson. Humanity was no longer prey. They were predators, and they would never again allow anyone to threaten their freedom. The Galactic Empire had targeted Earth expecting to find another world to conquer. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would dominate the galaxy. For generations to come, the age of human expansion had begun, and nothing in the universe would ever be the same.